Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another edition of the preview show. Today, I regretfully inform you all that we must return to Rugby Park. Yep, not a nice place to go, as we all know. Not been the best place to go in the past few years. Don't want to bring up some memories, but we take on Kilmarnock on Sunday afternoon, which means we have to talk about it anyway. So let's get into this. Let's preview a big game for Celtic in the third round of the Premiership this season. Now, before we get into the video, as always, make sure to hit like and subscribe. The support recently has been mad. Not a lot to talk about, so I'm glad that you've been sticking around the channel as we kind of waffle our way through the season thus far. But once again, as you already know, if you've been watching the channel all week, I'm on my holidays. So this video has actually been pre-recorded. I'm beside a pool in Spain right now, cocktail in hand. Maybe I'm pissed, I don't know. So this is pre-recorded. I don't know what's about to be dropped in the press conference today from Ange Postecoglou. I am crossing my fingers that nothing major breaks and I've missed it out and this becomes irrelevant. Let's hope he's not announcing a signing by surprise at tomorrow's press conference, and let's hope that everything kind of stays the same from what we know right now. So there will be a couple of things we talk about that may be cleared up at the press conference today as this video goes live, but I'm recording this on Thursday afternoon, so my apologies. I can't do much else unless you wanted me to record it on the flight. So let's talk about this game on Sunday then, and let's talk about Celtic first and a few of the conversations that have come up in preparation for this game. Touching on last week, Celtic with a 3-1 win up at Dingwall, Ross County, back-to-back away games for Celtic, tough away games at that. It's been a pretty difficult start to the season when you think about it. Aberdeen on the opening day, 2 away games that are tricky places to go, and we've handled it pretty well. Say what you like about the performances so far, some people have been happier than others. We've got the job done, and I'm expecting us to hopefully get the job done on Sunday. It's obviously a first visit for Ange Postecoglou to Rugby Park. That's one of the biggest themes of this game. Can he now turn around what has been slightly bad juju there as well? I know we won our last trip there right at the end of that COVID season a couple of years ago, to everybody's surprise, and obviously there's the game that stands out in everybody's mind, the Scott Brown winning the league at Rugby Park game. But overall, over the past sort of 4, 5, 6 years, I haven't had very pleasant memories of Rugby Park, and I've been there a few times in the flesh to watch these games, and they've never been nice. Kilmarnock always make it a tricky game, so I'm hoping Ange can work his magic like he did with Livingston last year, and he makes this more of a pleasant experience for everyone involved, especially the fans who are getting along to the game on Sunday. You know, that's one thing that I hope is kind of changed from our last sort of visits there. So hopefully Ange can bring that out. But the main conversation, the typical Kilmarnock performances, the typical Kilmarnock visits, the plastic park, everything kind of comes flashing back to you, doesn't it? It's like PTSD. You're just going to get that typical sort of game for Celtic away from home. They're going to sit in, they're going to throw us about the park. It's going to be really, really difficult. What should we expect? I think a lot of people are probably expecting a statement-like performance from Celtic on Sunday because, you know, the opening 2 games haven't been, I'd say, 100% Ange ball yet. But I wouldn't put the pressure on Celtic to give us that on Sunday. I think this is going to be really hard fought. I think it'll be tight. I don't see a lot of goals in the game either. Maybe they'll surprise me, but just on the surface and just guessing off of, you know, sheer statistics and history, this will be difficult, and to expect a big statement performance, it's probably not going to be yet. I think we're going to have to wait till our return to Rugby Park, but we are slowly now building up to that big derby game that is going to come in early September. So I would like goals. I would like us to try and get the best out of us. I think it all comes down to the team selection and obviously the approach to the game as well. We're not going to change much. To try and get those sort of thriller performances though on this surface and against this opposition is a big ask, and that's ultimately what I'm saying. The biggest conversation heading into this game is who's the front three, who starts for Celtic in the final third, because last week a lot of questions were raised when we seen the substitutions made in the second half. Liela Bada, he came on, he had a great impact in the game, he ended up scoring late in the game as well. A lot of people preferring him on the right hand side to the likes of Maida starting in the team. So we'll talk about that when it comes to the team prediction part and who I think should start, but I think that's one of the overwhelming topics as well heading into this game. Who does start in that front three for Celtic, because we're in a very healthy headache right now. So let's talk about the opposition. Let's talk about Kilmarnock because, well, that's who we're playing, so that would be handy, Ryan, yes. A new form of Kilmarnock we're taking on. Derek McInnes in charge now, of course, after promotion last season from the Scottish Championship. They won the league last year after a hard-fought battle with Arbroath, and they've came into the league and so far not had the worst start. Of course, they're yet to find their first win, and it would be typical of them to find it against Celtic, so I'm all worried in that aspect of things, but they haven't been bad. It's been a tough start for them as well. Dundee United on the opening day, of course, last season, brilliant for them. European football, really positive right there, right now at Tannadice. The second game, Ibrox, very difficult, but they held their own. It wasn't a blow-away result. It was a bit of a dull affair, to be quite honest. But they've had two tough games to start off, and of course the joy of that 90th minute equaliser against Dundee United showed that Kilmarnock are going to be a team that fights this season. I've boldly predicted them for the top half upon the return to the top division in Scotland. I think they'll be a tough team to beat this year, and I think this is going to be a big test for the team in Ange as they play them for the first time. They've got a lot of good players in that team now. They've recruited well. They've got good youngsters. We're also going to talk about some of the bastards that we have to play against. But it's certainly an 11 that Celtic will not like to play against, put it that way. And as I said, I expect big things of them. They're not going to go away easy. I think we'll see a lot of that in this game and within the 90 minutes. For a brief moment, we have to talk about Kyle Lafferty, don't we? I mean, I think that he's at the tail end of his career now. He's sort of just getting about. He's landed himself in a position at Kilmarnock where he's back in the Premiership, and I don't think himself or anybody else would have expected him to be playing in the Scottish Premiership again, but here we are. He's signed for him, he got promoted with them, he's still there. He started against Rangers last week. He was weirdly applauded off the park, but he's playing for Kilmarnock this weekend, more than likely. And do you know what? For as much as I think he's finished, and I think he's a bit off it for his age and such nowadays, it would just be typical of him to find a goal, wouldn't it? I hate playing against Kyle Lafferty. I absolutely despise it, because it's just inevitable that he's going to get in there and do something that will have a big impact on the game. I'm hoping this is now the time for him not to do that. I'm getting flat, and do you know what? This is the thing, and let's cut to the side for a wee story here for a moment. I went to Zante in 2018. The summer of 2018, roughly about this same time actually, it was early August. And we went to watch Celtic against Hearts at Tynecastle on a Sunday morning, in a pub. We lost. Who scored Hearts' goal? Kyle Lafferty. I'm now going to be, this time in Spain, Sunday morning, in a pub, watching the game, and Kyle Lafferty will be starting up front once more. Now, I don't like those odds. I really don't. That proper... I'm not one that believes too heavily in superstition. I'm not one of those guys, but just when I look at the two stories and the parallels coming together, I hope to God I am not somehow inadvertently manifesting a Kyle Lafferty goal this weekend. I mean, we've learned a lot from playing Derek McInnes in the past, and to be honest, our form against Derek McInnes hasn't been bad at all. You look at him as Aberdeen manager. Celtic had a very good record against Aberdeen while he was in charge, but he does know how to set up teams well, and right now, defensively, Kilmarnock don't look too shabby. They've only conceded 3 goals, and one of those games was against Rangers. I think that's a decent enough... I think that's a decent number for a team that's just been promoted from the Championship, to be quite honest. But you know what we're going to expect from this game? Hammer throwing. We're going to expect hard tackles. They're going to try and bully Celtic around the park. That's just typical Scottish Premiership performances. But the two guys that makes me fear in this game, and I'm not by technical ability or any of those reasons. I'm not scared of them for their impact on the game in that sense, but for throwing us about. They have a midfield partnership of Liam Donnelly and Alan Power. Get your bingo cards out, boys. What minute is Alan Power going to get sent off? Because an Alan Power red card, shove your mortgage on it. It's probably going to happen. But those two in the midfield together, Power and Donnelly, my God almighty, it's going to be a tough watch. They are going to just throw everything they have at the Celtic team. On that surface, I fear for our players. I really do. So those two are the ones for me in this game that I don't want to think about. And Kyle Lafferty, but those two especially, because you can just see them sliding into absolutely everything from the first whistle. Ultimately, Celtic are the better side. If we play our football, we should get through the game with ease. But if we're allowed to play our football with guys like that in the team, they are going to make it hard. It will be a rough affair, and it's just about how we handle that on the other side. So then, team prediction for the game. An 11 that was kind of hard to predict this week. I think for the first 2 games of the season, it was relatively easy to predict the starting 11, but there's so many factors in this game that makes it a little more difficult. The performances last week, the plastic surface, there's a lot of things to consider when it comes to what Team Ange might pick for this game. Also, just to reiterate very quickly, this is before the press conference. I have no idea on the fitness updates, so I don't know if there's anybody who might miss this game due to injury, By the time this is out, we could hear that someone else is out with a virus, for talking sake. I also don't know in the kind of likeliness of someone like Ryu Hatate returning, because once again, it's before they updated the press conferences, so bear with me. But this is the 11 that I think will start the game against Kilmarnock. I would at least start against Kilmarnock. In goals, Joe Hart, of course, a back four of Josip Juranovic, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Moritz Jens and Greg Taylor. A midfield three of Callum McGregor, David Turnbull and Matt O'Reilly. And a front three, yes, a different front three for Celtic. 2 changes I would make. I'd bring in Leah Labada and Georgios Giacomakis, and I'd have Jota starting over on the left. That's the 11 that I think we should go with at the weekend. Whether or not Ange goes with it is a completely different story. But I'm going to run you through my decisions on the big changes from the previous starting lineups. On my screen here, I've got my notes, so pardon me looking down. Moritz Jens, I think he'll start again because I don't think that Starfelt is going to return to the Celtic side on a plastic surface after a big injury, an injury that affects, ligaments and such. Not going to happen, I don't think. I'd be very surprised. And also, I think that he would have been subbed on last week if we were going to see him any time in this game. Maybe he'll get subbed on in this game, I don't know, but I just don't feel like Starfelt's going to return. I think Moritz Jens will keep his place after scoring last week and having a decent enough performance. I know he was kind of at fault for Ross County's goal, but these things happen. He was caught out, and he's going to iron out these mistakes. Welsh could easily come back in as well if he's ready, but I just think Jens will start again. Not sure about Hatate yet, as I've said, so I'm sticking with David Turnbull and Matt O'Reilly as the forward midfielders. And I've went with Georgios Giacomakis because I just feel like we need his presence against Kilmarnock. I've spoke about Liam Donnelly, I've spoke about Alan Power. Kyogo is going to get absolutely levered in this game. So I'm going with Georgios Giacomakis, plastic surface as well. So I think it might suit him a little bit better. I'm not going to be aggrieved if Kyogo does start the game. Absolutely not. Love him, of course, on the score sheet as well last week. So he might want to keep his momentum up after scoring. I just feel like with that team and with the way that Kilmarnock will play, Giacomakis just seems like he should fit into this side at the weekend. So I've gone with him. And then finally, the other big change that, of course, I've made, Leah Labada coming in for Dyson Maeda, the switch of the wings, Jota back over on the left. I think everybody in social media anyway was kind of mutually agreed on that last week that Jota should be on the left-hand side, and I think we should give him that opportunity against Kilmarnock in this game. I think Abada well within his rights to start as well after scoring and having an impact off the bench last week, so I have gone with that, and there's my 11 for the game. And finally, my score prediction for the game. I think, as I said, it'll be a tight affair. So I'm going for Celtic 2, Kilmarnock 1, Celtic 2. Hopefully we win. A 3 out of 3 would be a great start to the season. Keep up that 100% record. Of course, it's going to be a tough one. And dropping points is definitely, reasonable in this game. Not reasonable in the sense I want that to happen. Just, if you were to predict it, I'd say it's reasonable because it is a tough place to go, and our history isn't exactly great there in recent times. But I'm feeling a Celtic win. It's, it's only right to be confident. So I'm going to go for 2-1. And finally, that's it. There's no and finally. That is it. Thank you for watching. I will still be doing my best to bring you content. I'm committed to doing this. I know a lot of people will give me the stuff in the comments like, well, go away, don't worry, enjoy your holiday. I will, don't worry, I'll absolutely enjoy my holiday. But I'll also enjoy my holiday while trying to keep the momentum going in the channel and by giving you guys the content you subscribe for. After all, this is my full-time job. Really, I should have probably been in this holiday about a month ago when the season wasn't even started, so I wouldn't have to worry about this stuff. But I'm committed, I want to do it, so don't worry, I will enjoy myself. And I'll bring you as best a quality of content as I can from my limited resources. Well, not limited. I'm going to take my camera, take a mics, take a laptop. So don't expect over-the-top editing because I'm not going to be sitting in a hotel room for hours. I'll just be giving you what I can while also enjoying myself. Yes. Right, like and subscribe if you've enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts, your predictions in the comments below, and I'll see you all next time.